From the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Basses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
So what's going on with is that camera on the Park Square Green, is that all wet?
Yeah,
the
that's
rain.
rainy.
Is that what, yeah.
It looks like the rain's been sideways or
yes,
every ways.
It is quite quite rainy out there. Balmy. It's not really that cold out.
It's in the 50s,
this morning,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it feels.
I'll take that in December.
I know. You know, the only thing is we have to do. Mary Lou and I are doing fitness signups this morning. So for those of you who are signing up for either the chair yoga classes, any of the chair yoga classes, or the Totally Fun Fitness, we'll be out there in the rain from 8:45 until 9:15. So please be respectful of that time frame, because I don't really plan on spending one more second out there than I have to. And really not, again, it's not cold. It's just rainy. And then we have to go back out and do curbside lunches. So, you know, I'll be in
it's kind of like me.
full rain gear attire today, which is why the casual look, you know, the flannel shirt, because it's like I'm not getting dressed up to do this today.
Right. No, I got you.
But anyway, but yeah, but not too cold. So, you know, could be a lot worse if it were.
This could all be snow.
It's exactly. If it was, you know, 20 or 30 degrees colder, it would be snow or freezing rain, but we're not there. So that's a good thing.
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm
Pete,
sure we'll pay for this later on in the winter.
We will at some point.
As
you know,
as is its wont, Mother Nature giveth and taketh away.
It does. She does. It does. But you know what? I'm at that stage in my life now, Pete, where it's just like I'm just living one day at a time. So
right,
it's like,
I
you know
gotcha.
what? I'll worry about that down the road, because there's nothing I can do about it. You know, the thing about the weather is whatever the weather's going to be. I
Right.
mean, we can't really do anything about the weather, so why worry about it?
Correct.
There you go. So, Pete, I don't know about you. I feel like I'm running in 12 directions. Are you there yet, or are you?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I hadn't seen my girlfriend in a while because her daughter's been sick, and we just can't. We get together like one day a week. That's all we really can do. And that when that doesn't happen, I drove down there last night. But then she's got this new baby gate because the old one broke for the dogs.
Okay.
And so I had to like go up and over instead of through like I used to.
Yeah.
And I think my knee, something stretched in my knee, so my knee's sore, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Man.
There's this great picture of me and the cat sleeping up right on my chest. Yeah, and the dogs would not stop barking till I sat down. They hadn't seen me in a while.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. They
were nuts.
Now, what kind of dogs does she have?
Big
dogs, little dogs?
They're like medium sized.
Okay, perfect.
So one's like a greyhound mix, and the other one's kind of a mutt.
Mm-hmm.
And they just will not stop barking until I sit down on the couch, and they can just come snuggle up.
And they can just kind of chill out with you. And
she says, it's the only person that happens for.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so funny because Grace's fiance has a dog, Bailey, and when Gary likes to take Bailey for walks. You know, it's good exercise for Gary, good exercise for the dog. So that's kind of his thing. And a lot of times he'll just, you know, call Grace. She's studying, and you know, he'll say, "Listen, you want me to take Bailey for sure? Come on over, Dad. Take her for a walk." So now it's like Pavlov's dog, because every time Bailey sees Gary, it's like she thinks we're going for a walk. And, you know, I said to Grace goes, "Dad, you created this mess." So, man, the other night we had to go over there to drop some stuff off, and Bailey saw Gary and the tail's wagging, and, you know, and then we were just going to drop off stuff and leave. And,
Negative.
You know, no, because then Bailey started whimpering. And I said to Gary, "Oh, my God, she's breaking my heart." And Grace said, "Dad, you can't do that. You know, you've got her trained now that she thinks every time you walk in the door, you're going to take her for a walk." So what did he do? He took her for a walk, of course.
Of course.
As Gary said, it's kind of flattering to have a dog, you know, like.
Well, and
I get it.
her dog's in such a routine that when she's on her week home from, she alternates weeks with UConn.
Okay, with working at home, working from home.
Right. So when she's home and it's lunch break, the dogs know when she's on lunch.
Yeah.
And they're like going nuts yesterday when it was starting to rain and stuff, and they were like, she showed a picture of them. They walked right over to where their leashes are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just like, "Hey, you're not taking what?
Let's
what?
go.
Ah, come on."
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Right.
What's the deal? I have this whole new appreciation for pets and dogs and animals. I mean, I've always really liked dogs and enjoyed dogs, but I mean, I can really see why people, and especially older people, if they're living by themselves and they have a pet, a dog or a cat, I get it. You know, I get why it can be so important. They are so much a part of your life. So we've been having fun. And, you know, as I said to Gary, Bailey's like a grandchild. You know, you don't really have to take care of her. You can play with her and have fun with her, and then you can leave when it's time.
Here's Miss Cleo.
Oh, there you go. There it is. Oh, she's big. How old is she?
Like 6, I think.
Okay, yeah.
She's not that big. It was a close-up
No?
shot, but
Oh, okay.
she's a good cat, and she loves me
Aw,
dearly.
that's
It's
good.
like that cat's crazy.
You know, and it's funny though, Pete, because some cats are
Yeah, I know. I've
very
had
kind of
cats.
standoffish. You know, I mean, they're just like they're very independent. They're very independent. It's like thank you very much, but I'll do my own thing. But this
Yeah.
one's a snuggler.
Yes.
Yeah, that's somewhat unusual, I think, for a cat.
Yeah, she's a female cat. The two dogs love her, so that they get along
So they get
very
along
well.
great.
Yeah, and as
Good.
soon as I come, she materializes out of
She's
thin
ready.
air, and she's crawling up and over.
Here I am.
Yep.
Let's play. Let's snuggle.
Oh, she wants to. She's
She's a
wants to snuggle.
snuggler.
Yes.
She's a snuggler. Oh, you gotta love that. You gotta love it.
Yep.
All right, how you doing on your Christmas preparations, Pete? Are you
I don't
doing
really have to
anything?
buy.
You don't have to worry too much.
No, because we're going away. Our Christmas
Oh.
gifts to each other. We're going to Vegas for the.
Oh my gosh!
Originally, it was supposed to be with my brother,
Yeah.
but then his wife's aunt passed away, so she's got to
Okay.
stay back.
Okay.
And then he's now staying back, so we're going anyways because we got such a good deal on a room.
Yeah. So
6
when
days,
are you doing
like
that?
$500.
Wow. When are you gonna be? So when are you gonna be gone?
That's what we was talking about with the emails. I'm leaving the 14th.
Oh, okay. So that's the before Christmas one.
Yes.
Oh,
And
fun.
originally,
okay,
we were going
okay.
for my brother's birthday because, and
Okay.
also the Patriots will be in Las Vegas that weekend.
Oh, cool.
So I don't think I mean, I saw
Yeah,
game price tickets like
yeah.
$200 for the
Yeah.
nosebleeds. I was like, nah, we'll
Yeah.
go to a sports book and
yeah,
watch the game.
exactly. Absolutely. It'll be fun.
But yeah, so we're staying in Bally's Mid Strip, which is under renovation because they're going to rebrand it as the Horseshoe.
Oh, okay.
And Kenny's like, you got a great deal. So
Okay. And Kenny would know because Kenny is like Mr. Vegas. He goes
Right.
there a couple times a year.
right.
So.
So our Christmas
yeah.
gift to each other, she found a bus trip to the Grand Canyon.
Nice. Have you
Like
ever
a-
been?
No,
Yep. Me neither.
it's like an all-day trip. So, and they feed you as part of the trip. So
Nice.
yeah. So I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Experiences. Remember we talked about experiences?
And absolutely, Gary and I are all about that. We've been doing that for several years now. So,
yeah, we're at an age where the stuff doesn't really mean
right.
anything.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not only that. It's like you don't need or want more stuff necessarily. Like
right. I want to get
into-
rid of stuff.
Right, exactly. So I'm into kind of practical, and it's interesting. Gary's going to be on the program second hour.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Gary Gorman will be with us. We're going to talk about some health and wellness kind of Christmas gifts. So not just stuff that's going to kind of accumulate dust, but things that are practical, things that
Last year I
kind
bought-
of promote. So good.
I bought the Cardia Mobile thing that Dr. Lovelace was talking
There
about.
you
I
go.
have that.
And that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea. And we have it broken down into categories of, different categories of things and different prices kind of all over the map with that.
All
But
those
nothing
little-
too expensive.
All those
so,
little wearables actually travel with me when I go, just in case something happens, and I can call
yeah.
my doctor and give them some real-time information, some basics like
Yes.
heart rhythm,
Yeah.
pulse ox level,
Yeah.
or temperature.
I just loved that conversation that we had with Dr. Lovelace, when was it, 2 weeks ago, on wearable technology. I'd actually not heard that term, but it made a lot of sense. Wearable technology.
I gotta actually get them. I've ordered. I had extra money one year, and I ordered an eyeglass, so you can measure your own self with an app
Oh, no kidding.
for eyeglasses. And I want
Really?
to see how close it is to the real deal.
Well, that's interesting because I have an appointment. I have an eye appointment this afternoon because I feel like my eyes are worsening by the second. It's honestly, it's just that I have not been for my exam since pre-COVID.
Right.
I was due right around the time that COVID hit, so that appointment got canceled, and here we are. So I'm going to see Dr. Thayer this afternoon. And
I'm still not used to my bifocals. It's been a couple of months, and I'm still not used to it.
really, really afraid that's what he's going to tell me. And
I'm
I'm
not
like,
used to it.
I don't know if I can do bifocal. But generally, if I don't, I need my glasses for close-up work, for reading, computer, if I do mending or sewing or anything like that. But I've also found like now I need them for shopping just because I can't read the labels and I can't read the sizes. I'm looking at, I was trying to do some Christmas shopping the other day and I'm looking at, shirts or whatever I was looking at. I was trying to find the size. I said,
I get it.
Let me get out the glasses because I have no idea. Is this a small? Is this a large? What am I talking about here?
I completely get it.
Yeah, it's the little stuff. But like for regular, just looking around, I'm fine. And so I don't know. We'll see what he says, but that's interesting, Pete. And I agree with you. I'm curious to know how close the app is to.
I haven't had time to actually unpack
Yeah.
it all. It's been sitting
Yeah.
there for a while, but
Yeah.
I'd like to try it. And then he said, I want to borrow it after you, and I want to play with it a little bit because he's thinking about getting it for the practice to see if that might help the practice as well.
Yeah. Yeah. All good stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about today is December 7th, and we really do need to acknowledge the fact that today is Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. So let's start the show with that because that's really important. My dad served in World War II, and so I'm a huge one. And you know these anniversaries were a big deal in my house when I was growing up and into adulthood. So each year on December 7th, Pearl Harbor survivors, veterans, and visitors from all over the world come together to honor and remember the 2,403 service members and civilians who were killed during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. An additional 1,178 people were injured in the attack, which permanently sank 2 U.S. Navy battleships, the USS Arizona and the USS Utah, and destroyed 188 aircraft. Man, that was some bombing.
Sneak attack.
Yeah. The day marked a turn in the United States' position regarding involvement in World War II. President Franklin D. Roosevelt said the next day in his speech declaring war on Japan, a date which will live in infamy. The mostly young Americans who died that day, along with those who served in uniform during World War II or on the home front war effort, are collectively known as the Greatest Generation. Their sacrifices reflect the theme of this year's commemoration, which is everlasting legacy. The focus is the importance of remembering Pearl Harbor and how the greatest generation saved us from tyranny and brought us peace through reconciliation. Traditionally, the flag of the United States is flown at half-staff until sunset to honor those who lost their lives serving this nation at Pearl Harbor. And, you know, I was thinking about this, and I was listening to a piece on National Public Radio this morning on Pearl Harbor Day, and it occurred to me, and they said it, that any of the survivors, any of the surviving military personnel are many of them are over 100 years old now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you think about it, this was 1941. Well, a lot of them were in their late teens and early 20s during the attack. So that puts them at, you know, close to or right over 100 years old. So so thank you to those who served. It was pretty devastating. Okay, let's take a break. It is 6:14. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We are going to listen to a song. I found this song. Were you able to find it, Pete? It's Sammy
Yes.
Kaye and his orchestra, and it's called "Remember Pearl Harbor." We'll be back.
History in every century records an act that lives forevermore. We'll recall, as into line we fall, a thing that happened on Hawaii shore. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we go to meet the foe. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we did the Alamo. We will always remember how they died for liberty. Let's remember Pearl Harbor and go on to victory. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we go to meet the foe. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we did the Alamo. We will always remember how they died for liberty. Let's remember Pearl Harbor and go on to victory.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:18. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this very rainy morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So Pete, I got the Christmas tree up over the weekend, so
okay.
I'm feeling pretty good about that. And let's see what I do. I got the Christmas tree up. I reclaimed my dining room, which has had, Grace was living with us for a while during COVID. And so we had to move stuff all over the place. And somehow a bunch of stuff ended up in my dining room because we don't really use it that much. So it was kind of looking like a warehouse in there. And I like to decorate my dining room for the holidays, even if we don't have a lot of people over for meals. I just like to decorate that room. It's just kind of a fun room to decorate. It's in the front of the house. And so I've been on a terror over the last couple of weeks trying to clean out, sort out, we were just talking about that before, but just get rid of so that I can move the stuff in the dining room, trying to kind of sort through. I have to sort through that. A lot of that's I'm going to get rid of it. But I didn't have time to do that right now. So I thought, let me get that upstairs. Now that Grace is out, we've created space where her stuff, and she's so funny because she keeps saying, Mom, I need my boots, and Mom, I need this, and Mom, I'm like, great, here you go. It's wonderful. I just keep, Oh, I said, which boots do you want? She goes, I want all of them. I said, I love it. Here you go. Here's all your, it's just, so it is creating some space. So that was nice. So I decorated the dining room, which, hadn't been able to do that in a year. And so the next step will be the family room and the kitchen. I'll tackle that over the weekend. And you know what? Even if we don't have guests, I just do it for me. I love it.
It's like a stress reliever.
It is. I really enjoy it because Gary asked me the last couple of years everybody's in lockdown pretty much, and Gary's like, why are you decorating? I said, this I do for me. I love this time of the year. I love the decorations. We have the senior center, fireside lounge is all decorated. We have the Christmas trees up. This year we have Marion Krause, of course. Thank you, Marion, who did the Christmas trees. And Kathy Millis is now her right-hand person. So Marion Krause is the artist. She's the one that developed these trees, created the trees, spent hours and hours for years making all the decorations. So we now have 4 trees all together. We don't have all 4 up this year, but I'm thinking maybe next year we might be able to. So we have the police tree, the fire tree, the veterans tree, and the peppermint tree, which was the first tree that we had when we opened up the new senior center 7 years ago. Marion had done the trees over at the Arbors, and I went over to see them one year, and she had in their dining room, we called it the peppermint tree because it looks like peppermint candy. It's all red and white and striped, and it was so cool.
Yep.
I had said to her when we built the new senior center, I said, I want a peppermint tree at the new senior center. So the first year, that's what we did. And we had that in the great room. And then the second year was when everything was going on with the police nationwide. And, people were just upset with every police department on the planet. And so Marion really wanted to do something to honor and support our local police department here in Westfield. So she did the police tree. Then, of course, the fire department got wind of that. Well, we want a tree honoring the fire department. So the next year she did that. And then she wanted to do the veterans tree. So what we did,
cool.
So what we did this year, and so we kind of rotate around because we usually have one upstairs and one downstairs in the fireside lounge and then one in the great room. Then, of course, with the pandemic, we didn't have people coming in the building. So we put the one over on the stage so people could see it when they drove through the parking lot.
Sure, yeah.
So this year I said, okay, we can only have 2 because we can't have one upstairs because we are deep, deep in the throes of preparing for the second floor renovation project, which should start after the holidays.
Yep.
So talk about cleaning and sorting and throwing out. And I'm really proud of my staff because we are going through stuff and, files, and we're going to shred stuff. And so that's all good. So anyway, I said to Marion, okay, we can put 2 trees up, one in the fireside lounge and one on the stage. And when we were cleaning out and sorting out closets and all that other stuff, I found the peppermint tree. And I was like, we haven't put the peppermint tree up in 7 years. We had it the one time. I said, Marion, it's time to put the peppermint tree. So she said, okay. She goes, wow, we haven't had that one up in a long time. So we put that one in the dining room on the great room stage. And I think it was Kathy Millis who named it the Happy Tree. It is just the coolest. You just look at this tree. It's so happy. It's just like, it just puts you in a good mood. So we have that one, and then in our fireside lounge, because we really do want to honor our veterans. And where it is in the fireside lounge, when you go down to the Veteran Services office where Julie Barnes and James Jordan are, you go right by the tree. So we really wanted to put that one there. So those are the 2 trees up this year. They look absolutely lovely. And if you haven't seen them, particularly if you are someone or a couple that come through the lunch line doing the curbside, but you really don't come in the building, it's worth coming in the building just to come in and take a look at the building and the trees. They look lovely. And speaking of lovely trees, and speaking of Marion Krause, so yesterday we had the Do Re Mi Singers performed their Very Merry Holiday concert for us. It was absolutely wonderful. This is a shout out to all of the Do Re Mi Singers, to Kathy Berry and Cammie Crick. Our Kathy is our director, and Cammie, her twin sister, plays the piano, is the accompanist. They did a fabulous job. It was really so much fun. We had a full house. The Do Re Mi Singers have not been performing outside. This was their first performance in 3 years, and they have not been. They're not right now. They're not really allowed to go into the nursing homes and the assisted living because there are 25 of them. So you put them in a room and then you put a whole group of people, and it's just kind of smushy right now.
Yep.
So what we did was we invited some members of the Arbors to come to us. So we had a van full of, I think we had about 15 people, residents from the Arbors who came over for the concert.
Cool.
We had a lot of, obviously, our own folks, our regulars, and some people, and then we had family members of the singers, and it was everybody went home. Thank you to Joanne Joanne Boucher and George Svakios, my kitchen crew. Everyone went home with a little bag of cookies, a little treat that they got on the way out. But what a great concert. And it was a full hour. I didn't really.
Cool. That'd be good for Christmas Day.
Yes, exactly. It was just lovely. So they were and absolutely thrilled, Pete. I had not told them that I was going to record it. I just thought, we'll just surprise them. Well, it was so funny because initially they thought it was going to be live streamed. I said, no, we're recording it, and Pete will play this. And Mary Lou reminded them that it would, she said, Pete puts it on YouTube. So, because they all wanted to text their families and say, turn on your computer. And we said, no, but you can turn on your computer at a later time. And I said, when Pete has it up on YouTube and when we know when it's going to be aired on Channel 15, I said, I will let you know, because they were really, really excited about that. So thank you to the singers. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to my staff. We all decided, and I threw it out there to the Do Re Mi's. I said, I think this should become an annual tradition. That they kick off the holiday season. We really liked doing it at the beginning of the month. It just kind of put everybody in a good mood,
Sure, yeah.
And it was kind of a dreary day, and still, it was absolutely fabulous. So thank you to my singers. It was great.
Nice.
It was awesome. Okay, let's do another birthday. Well, we haven't done a birthday yet. Let's do our first famous birthday today. It is the birthday of the late Harry Chapin. And I knew that Harry Chapin died young, but I couldn't remember the circumstances. But now I know. Harry Chapin was a folk rock composer and performer, born on this day in 1942 in Greenwich Village. And he died very young. He was only 38 years old. He died July 17th, 1981. Harry Chapin's principal contribution was his self-described story song. His songs all told a story. The subjects of these songs were often common people with poignant or even melodramatic tales to tell, tales of lost opportunities, cruel ironies, and life's hypocrisies. Harry Chapin organized and appeared in many benefit concerts for causes, including a campaign against world hunger, environmental and consumer issues, and the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation. At one time, and I think this is impressive, more than half of his concerts were benefit concerts. He lived in Huntington Bay, Long Island, and was particularly generous with organizations on Long Island. He raised tens of thousands of dollars for the Performing Arts Foundation, the principal theatrical group on Long Island, and mobilized the business community to support the arts. His father, James Chapin, was a drummer who worked with the band leaders Tommy Dorsey and Woody Herman, and Harry played the trumpet as a child before taking up the guitar. Harry Chapin left music while he studied at the Air Force Academy and at Cornell, and he later worked for a while in the film industry. In the summer of 1964, he was reunited with his brothers Tom and Stephen and his father, and the family group played around Greenwich Village during the peak years of the village folk scene. And interestingly, I heard Harry Chapin's brother Tom Chapin play in several concerts when I was in college. Tom Chapin obviously was not nearly as as famous and popular as his brother, but he was a great singer, and he was really good at working an audience. And so the venues that I generally saw him with were sort of smaller venues, not small, but smaller than, like the big stadium things. And he was great. He was so good with audience participation and getting the audience involved. I absolutely loved him. By the early 1970s, after several personnel changes, the group became a backup for Mr. Chapin and eventually released several albums. Harry Chapin's biggest hits were Taxi in 1972 and Cats in the Cradle in 1975. He was killed in an automobile accident. He was in New Jersey, and it was like in the middle of the day, but he was hit by a drunk driver who was driving a tractor trailer. Mm-hmm. He was rear-ended. His car was on fire. The driver of the truck actually pulled him out, but it was too late. So, 38 years old. So happy birthday to the late Harry Chapin. All right, it is 6:29, almost 6:30. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. And in honor of the birthday of Harry Chapin, let's listen to Cats in the Cradle. We'll be back.
Child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. Said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college just the other day, so much like a man I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you, can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids are the flu. But it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time there.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:34. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles.
Good morning.
Good morning. So listen, Pete, I wanted to get your opinion because we haven't had a chance to chat after our presentation to the mayor the other night on cable access channel. How did you feel that it went?
I think it went pretty well. I saw I gotta remember if I emailed the attorney back. He thought it went very, very well as well.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah,
I thought I ended up speaking and I didn't have to. You guys kind of said everything for me.
So why don't you tell our listening audience what this was all about?
Yeah,
it's kind of important.
Yeah, so the state regulations for a contract. So any cable company that operates within a city has to have a franchise agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So the city grants a franchise to the cable company to operate within the city. Some cities have more than one cable company. We just, back when it all started, it was kind of like Continental Cablevision was the big one, Commonwealth and Continental.
Yeah, I remember.
AT&T.
Yeah, I remember Continental.
And now it's Comcast. So, so there's a formal process you have to go through. Well, last time we didn't do that. We just kind of went informally. So, basically, the terms that we had were renewed. So now we're doing a formal process, and to do that, you have to kick it off with what's called an ascertainment hearing. It's like, why do we still want cable?
Okay.
And why the public access channel that were provided by the cable company is important to the city.
Okay.
And I think we demonstrated that.
I think so, too. I think we did an awesome job at demonstrating that. I mean,
Right.
it was so what ended up happening for the viewers' purposes, and you can actually see the presentation because
we put it up.
It's on the city channel. But so most of the hosts, there were quite a few hosts there from
Bob completely forgot about it.
Oh, he did. I just
I was awake and I was
away or whatever.
I was awake and I was home and I completely forgot about it.
Oh
I'm
dear. Yeah, it happens.
He's all upset about it. I'm like, don't worry about it, Bob. We had you covered.
We kind of did have everything covered. So, and Jay Pegluca was there, so, and so the hosts really got up and, we kind of talked about our shows, the importance of cable. And I like that Kenny, brought in the other things. I mean, graduation ceremonies and concerts and, other baseball games and other things. It's not just, our morning shows that we're doing.
Right. We hadn't done graduation in decades.
Yeah.
Or
then
ever.
COVID hit, and that is Kenny
Well, but I'm
said,
saying they hadn't broadcast graduation in decades.
Yeah.
Or ever. I can't find a record of they had ever done it.
Okay.
And so we made that a priority coming out.
Yeah. Yep.
And the first 2 years were at the airport.
Yep.
Where it wasn't, not everybody could go.
Yeah.
So, and then COVID, not everybody could go.
Yep.
So
well,
it
and that
became
was
a
huge,
lifeline.
and Kenny kind of talked about that, and as did I. I mean, the programming, and so anyway, I thought it went great. I thought that I I thought that Rob Goth did a great job too of sort of kind of pulling it all together. He went toward the end and kind of pulled it all together. And
and he's just been through this in Agawam.
that's what he was saying. So he kind of has a basis of he gets it. He has sort of a basis of comparison, and that was interesting too. That was interesting for me to hear that. And it's unusual for all of us to get into one place at one time. We do our shows, we come and go.
I see everybody.
You see everybody, but I thought it was good for the mayor to kind of have everybody in one place at one time, sort of sharing their insights and their input. I thought it went well. I think
you got a little bit more insight as to what we do around here.
I hope so, Pete.
I think he knew kind of like on a 50,000 foot level.
Yeah.
But I think he got a little bit more detail as to how hard we work around here.
I agree. It's not just, this stuff doesn't just happen.
No.
There's a lot of...
No, as I told the scouts.
A lot of planning involved.
Scouts want to do a show, right? So I said, okay, well, that's nice. And they got really hard on me about it, like emailing me every couple of days. And I said, okay, fill out this program proposal. Yeah. Tell me what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then I said, I think, do you still have a broadcasting badge for scouting? Mm-hmm. Why don't we train your scouts to do your show for you? Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard back from him since.
Yeah. It's like you don't just like come and sit down and just start, talking. I mean,
right.
It doesn't. It appears to be that way, but there's
because it took some trial and error, and I kind of gave you guys some formats to use and things like that, and
then you also kind of develop, what you're comfortable with. I mean, I've gone back and looked at earlier shows that I do, and back in the day when I first started, I would have 2 guests generally every time, each one first hour, one second hour, back to back. Then I kind of thought, well, that doesn't leave really any time for announcements. So then I kind of scaled it back to like 45 minutes. And then, then when COVID hit, we weren't having people in the studio. Everybody was crazy busy. And so then it became sort of the one guest format, and you just kind of, it evolves and it develops and you kind of figure out what works for you and the messages that you're trying to get across.
Yeah, sure.
And I have to tell you, Pete, this is kind of dovetailing some of the presentation that we talked about when we presented to the mayor last week, but I had an idea for the January Westfield Council on Aging Presents series for a guest that I wanted to and I'm not going to say anything yet because she and I are still working on the details, but I kind of reached out to her the other day and I said, what would you think of this idea? She's done presentations at the Senior Center. She's been at the Senior Options event and so forth. And I said, what would you think about this type of format? And this is a state program that she runs. So she kind of travels all over the state, doing her thing. And I said, what about this type of a format? And I explained to her, I always explain to the guests, it's kind of like a 60 Minutes, Harry Rock is the host. And, you sit at a table. It's not like you're at a podium or anything. It's a chat thing. But you can bring show and tell things because I know this is one where she would be bringing a lot of, show and tell. So we'd have stuff on the table. And, I kind of wasn't sure. Oh, my God, Pete, I got an email back 5 minutes later. I love this idea. This is fabulous. Let me run it by my supervisor and, figure that out. So I said, okay, do that. Because when it's a state thing, a lot of times people have to run it by, well, even when it's not a state, a lot of people will say, I have to run it by my supervisor.
Yeah, because technically we're media.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, okay, do that. But then I was thinking afterward, I said, in kind of dovetailing what Rob Goth had been talking about was, I thought this is a state program. This is one where she could come and do this here, and Agawam could show it, Southwood could show it, West Springfield. It's really, it would be, and I think that was one of the things that was exciting to her.
We've had a lot that are shareables.
Yes, absolutely. So. All good stuff. So we're working on that, but I
had a former colleague at Channel 40. He now runs Chicopee Public Access.
Okay.
He saw my video. I posted a video about the rocket launch.
Yep.
And he goes, "Oh, you got a big budget over there." So I corrected him and go, "No, I pay my travel expenses." And then I messaged him and I said, "Jay, if you want to download it, that YouTube video, you guys can air that." Mm-hmm. Seriously? Oh, that's so cool. Thanks, man. And
yeah.
We have these collaborations.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that Comcast afterwards, the representative, I've known Eileen for a while.
Okay.
I told her Southwick, Agawam, and Westfield regularly collaborate because it's just one person in all 3 of those places, and we have to.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
all
great.
All 3 of us work together to produce John Vila's show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
So-
it's nice we're sharing the entertainment piece. I know, we've gotten from Agawam, we got the latest thing on the Applause series, so we
Yeah,
can
that worked
be
out really
airing
well, yeah.
those. We can be showing those. So when I'm kind of scrambling and saying, who do I want to do for an entertainer?
Yeah, the Applause series this month is Dan Kane. So
Yeah. It
That's
was
a
so
good
funny.
one.
I got to tell you, it was so funny. I have in the newsletter that that we had Dave Colucci on for our, which was a repeat show from last year. It was a Christmas show. So I thought, we'll put that on for our December entertainment. I had a woman who attended the Do Re Mi concert yesterday who said that she taught Dave Colucci. She had been a teacher of his, and she was all excited about the concert. And she thought like she could come into. She's like, "Where's the studio? I want to watch him." And I said, "No, they're taped." I said, "Yeah, we tape it at the studio." I told her where the studio was, but I said it's taped. I said, "You can't come in and watch him in here. We already taped it." So, but I said, "But you can turn on, channel 15." I said, and you can YouTube it.
and then
you can check
as
on
part of
YouTube.
the Applause series, we had a group, a female quartet, Voce,
Okay.
out of Agawam,
Yeah.
Agawam, Southwick, that Southfield
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
And so one of the girls that's in that I work with at Mount Holyoke, and I
Oh,
said,
no
"Do you guys
kidding.
have a holiday show?" And she goes, "Yeah, absolutely." I said, "She goes, is it up on YouTube?" And she goes, "Yep." I said, "Send me the link, and I'll include it as part of Christmas Day. I just want to have music all
Awesome.
day."
Yes. Oh, that's fabulous.
So I've been plugging that show into the holiday mix.
nice.
And
Nice.
I'm like, hey, if you guys ever need to record something,
Yeah.
even if it's submission for competition, whatever, as long as I can air it,
Yep.
come on over.
Oh my gosh, that's fabulous.
We
Pete.
have all the stuff to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm trying. That's the whole point
Yeah.
of public access. It's like the cameras that I bought for you guys. For
Yes.
you guys,
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I can go set it up,
Yep.
or even you can set it up,
Yep.
and one button record, and we'll see what we get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Because I said to Mary Lou, I was like, "Oh man," I said, I know Pete showed me this like a month or so ago, but I don't remember, and I don't have time today." And so it's like, went up on stage, record. I said, "Okay."
Well, and my
Start
goal too
stuff,
is if groups or schools or organizations like the gear so much that it's not that a barrier for cost. It's only $400 for the
Right,
set. That I
right.
can send them the specs and they can buy
Yep.
their own.
Yep.
And then say, "Hey, Pete, we've uploaded this to Google Drive. Pull it down and put credits on it and air it."
Do what you do.
Right.
All right. And speaking of music and musicians, let's do another birthday before I take our break. It is the birthday of Bobby Osborne, bluegrass musician, born on this date in 1931 in Hyden, Kentucky. He's 91 years old and still performing. So Bobby Osborne is the co-founder with his brother Sonny Osborne of the Osborne Brothers. Now, not to be confused with the Osmond Brothers. Nope, these are the Osborne Brothers, bluegrass. Bobby
I love
Osborne.
bluegrass, by the way.
Huh?
I love bluegrass.
So do I. Well, so I went to school in Virginia, and they used to get bluegrass bands, Pete, to play on the green, like on our college campus green at JMU. Like at lunchtime, they would, it was like one of the campus arts things would sponsor it, and they would just be out there playing for like an hour and a half or so at lunchtime. I mean, and it would be so cool. It would be in the springtime, and you got
Just
bluegrass
love
playing
the sound,
outside.
yeah.
It's so cool. So Bobby Osborne is a member of the Grand Ole Opry and the International Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame. He knew nothing about bluegrass music when he was a kid, but he was listening to the Grand Ole Opry one night on WSM radio. He liked the sound of the banjo, and from then on, he became interested in that type of music. He appeared on many shows with Ernest Tubb, playing guitar and singing. Ernest Tubb suggested that Bobby play the mandolin to complement his high tenor voice. He took that advice, and it remained one of his main instruments for the rest of his career. Bobby Osborne has released many recordings since the 1950s. The Osborne Brothers' recordings of Rocky Top and Kentucky were named official state songs of Tennessee and Kentucky, respectively. Osborne's 2017 solo album, so that was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. He was 86 at the time. The name of the album is Original, and it was his first album since Bluegrass and Beyond. That was his 2009 album. As of 2022, Osborne continues to perform with his band, the Rocky Top Express. So happy birthday, happy 91st birthday to Bobby Osborne. So we have to listen to the Osborne Brothers singing Rocky Top Rocky Top, Tennessee, because I have a brother. My brother lives in Tennessee. He's lived in Tennessee. Went to law school down at University of Tennessee. Never came back. Stayed down there. He's got a little bit of a little drawl now because he's been down there so long. So you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. Let's rock it with Rocky Top.
Wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bills. Once I had a girl on Rocky Top, half bear, the other half cat. Wild as a mink, but sweet as soda pop, I still dream about that. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Once two strangers climbed old Rocky Top looking for a moonshine still. Strangers ain't come down from Rocky Top, reckon they never will. The corn won't grow at all on Rocky Top, dirt's too rocky by far. That's why all the folks on Rocky Top get their corn from a jar. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. I've had years of cramped up city life, trapped like a duck in a pen. All I know is it's a pity life can't be simple again. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
Man, I'm awake after listening to that song. That was awesome. That was so fun. I love it. That was great. Okay, let's do a few announcements before we do a couple more birthdays. The PVTA, we got you covered. Try Transit on Us. Between now and the end of this month, December 31st, no fares or passes are needed to ride during this time. So you can ride free. That goes for both the bus, the big bus, as well as the paratransit, the van service, the door-to-door van service. So you do have to call in advance on the van service and, all that good stuff. But the fare has been prepaid by the Massachusetts legislation. So this was a special grant that they got. We are really encouraging people, especially people who have never tried the PVTA, but they kind of want to. This is your opportunity, folks. For all you people who want rides to the senior center and, can't really afford it, call up the van, take the bus. PVTA has you covered. So you got the whole month of December. Get out. I know I have some folks that regularly, they'll take the PVTA bus from right near the senior center because there's a stop right over on Main Street.
Yep.
Up to the Holyoke Mall. And, and the Christmas tree shops are up there and, they'll have a gay old time. So PVTA got you covered this month. Also, the YMCA has started an exercise class for folks with Parkinson's disease. We are thrilled to promote this. Michelle Urbanski has been working really hard on this program. She teaches our mail call class. So exercise has been shown to slow the progression and manage the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Participants do need to be able to move from station to station. They need to be able to get up and down from the floor, and they need to be able to perform some lateral movement, some cardio movement. There's free weight exercises, and they also need to be able to process cues with just minimal assistance. So if you can do all of those, the activities that they're doing in this particular program are stretching, agility, cardio, strength, and boxing, and they have boxing gloves on their flyer here. Prerequisites, medical clearance from your doctor. You need a screening intake with Michelle Urbanski. She's the Health and Wellness Director. It's $5 a class. It's drop-in. Or you can purchase a 10-session package for $50, and that's redeemed as you come in. So the first class is free. They started on November 28th, so it's Mondays and Fridays from 11 to 12. If you would like more information, you can call Michelle at the YMCA, or if you happen to be in the area of the Senior Center, as I said, she teaches the mail call class on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9 at the Senior Center. The number at the YMCA is 568-8631. That's 568-8631 if you're interested in this. It's a specialized class for folks with Parkinson's disease. A lot of training went into this. This is not one of these like, oh, let's offer a class. There was a lot of training that was involved in this, and Michelle's been working on this for several months. So happy to promote that. I do have the flyer if you want more information, or if you didn't get that number, just call me at the Senior Center and I'll get you Michelle's number. Please remember, winter coat clothing drive is still going on. That's going on through December 14th. If you have, and this year they're not just collecting, first of all, they're not just collecting coats for kids. It's coats for kids, coats for adults. They're collecting hats, gloves, mittens, scarves. All of those are welcome. There's a bunch of locations throughout the city that you can drop things off at. Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the Westfield School Department, Amelia Park Arena, Anytime Fitness, Betts Plumbing and Heating, the Carson Center, which is on Mill Street, Cannabis Connection, which is on Westfield Industrial Park Road, Results in Wellness right here on Main Street, Shortstop, that's where I drop my stuff off, Westfield Bank up on Southampton Road, and Barnes Airport. So all of those places, so that covers the whole city, folks. Clean out those closets. If you have winter coats that no one is wearing, somebody can really use it. So you have until December 14th. Let's get those bins filled so that we can keep people warm. We haven't hit the really cold weather yet, but we know it's coming. As Pete said, we'll pay for this later on. We're going to pay for this 55-degree stuff.
It always works itself out.
It does. Also, we have a few. I think we've got 4 or 5 poinsettias left. Through the Westfield Technical Academy Horticulture Technology Holiday Sale. We have the 6-inch ones. So they're the smaller ones. They're $6. They're beautiful. I don't know if we have any. I know we have pink. I don't know if we have any red. I'm not sure if we have any white left. But right in the Senior Center lobby. So if you are so inclined, and you, it makes a nice gift if you, if you're going to someone's house, instead of bringing food or instead of bringing a bottle of wine, bring a poinsettia. I'm doing that with Gary and I have been invited to a breakfast this weekend, and so I actually already sent the poinsettia over there. Gary took it over there last week, and they were absolutely thrilled to get it. Kind of helps with their holiday decorating. So we have those. So I think that's it for those bigger announcements. Let's do another birthday before the top of the hour break. It's the birthday of Barbara Weathers, rhythm and blues soul singer born on this day in 1963 in Greensboro, North Carolina. She's 59 years old. Barbara Weathers joined the group Atlantic Starr in 1984. Weathers' arrival heralded a new era of mainstream success for Atlantic Starr, beginning with her debut on the 1985 album As the Band Turns. A song from the album Secret Lovers reached number 1 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary Songs chart, number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, becoming the band's first major pop hit, and number 4 on the Billboard Hot R&B Songs chart. The album spun off 4 additional top 40 singles. Meanwhile, Barbara Weathers continued contributing to Atlantic Starr's success, singing on the band's 1987 follow-up album, All in the Name of Love. Spearheaded by the single Always, a chart topper on the pop, R&B, and adult contemporary charts, this album surpassed its predecessor. Follow-up singles from the album included another R&B top 10 hit, One Lover at a Time, also featuring Barbara Weathers as the sole lead vocalist. So happy 59th birthday to Atlantic Starr singer Barbara Weathers. And we're going to listen to that song Always a little bit later when I get closer to when I'm going to bring my husband in, because it's a beautiful love song. It is also the birthday today of Larry Bird, professional basketball player born on this day in 1956 in West Baden Springs, Indiana. Larry Bird is 66 years old today. Following his junior year at Indiana State University, Larry Bird was selected with the 6th overall pick in the NBA draft by the Boston Celtics. He chose to return to Indiana State for one more year and led the Sycamores to the NCAA championship game against Michigan State Spartans, a team led by another future NBA superstar, Irvin Magic Johnson. It was the first time the two star players would face each other in a head-to-head battle, and it began a friendship and a rivalry that would span both players' careers. Johnson and the Spartans triumphed, but Larry Bird left Indiana State that year with the College Player of the Year Award, the Naismith Award, and the Wooden Award. At the time, he was also the 5th highest scorer in NCAA history. Signing with the Boston Celtics for a then-record $650,000 a year, Larry Bird justified his salary right out of the gate, averaging 21.3 points per game and claiming Rookie of the Year honors for the 1979-1980 NBA season. Bird also led the Celtics in rebounding with an average of 10.4 per game, as well as in steals and minutes played. Over the course of his 13-year Hall of Fame career, the sharpshooting forward led the Boston Celtics to 3 NBA titles and claimed 3 MVP awards. Following his retirement in 1992, Larry Bird became a successful head coach and front office executive with the Indiana Pacers. So happy birthday to Larry Bird. And, you know, the Boston Celtics are doing really, really well right now. So lots to be proud of on the basketball front. Yep. All right. It is 7 o'clock. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. Let's take our top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:04. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with Pete Coles and whoever Pete's guest is back there. We've got all kinds of activity going on.
Our maintainers are out here working diligently. They're doing some vacuuming back here.
I thought I heard the vacuum
You
going.
heard the vacuum running, yeah.
That's what it was. All right, let's do our last birthday, and then we have some more some announcements to do before we bring Dr. Gorman in a few minutes. It is the birthday of Susan Collins, United States Senator. She was born on this day in 1952 in Caribou, Maine. She's 70 years old today. One of 6 children, Susan Collins was born in Caribou, where her family operates a lumber business established by her great-great-great-grandfather, Samuel W. Collins, in 1844. Her parents, Patricia and Donald F. Collins, each served as mayor of Caribou. How's that? I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, right.
I didn't realize that. I love Susan Collins anyway. I just think she's so down to earth. But it was really interesting to learn about her background. And each of her parents served as mayor of Caribou. Her father, a decorated veteran of World War II, also served in the Maine legislature with 1 term in the House and 4 in the Senate. Susan Collins was first elected to the United States Senate in 1996. She was reelected in 2002, 2008, 2014, and in 2020. She chaired the Senate Special Committee on Aging from 2015 to 21 and the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs from 2003 to 2007. Susan Collins is a senior Republican female in the Senate, the dean of Maine's congressional delegation, and the only New England Republican in the 116th and 117th Congresses. She has been called a moderate Republican and is often a pivotal vote in the Senate. To date, Collins is the longest-serving Republican woman in the Senate. So happy 70th birthday to Susan Collins.
There you go.
All right, there you go. Now, let's talk a little bit about some upcoming things going on at the Senior Center. And the first thing that I have to talk about is holiday bingo fun, because for the next 2 Fridays, we have some really cool, for our bingo players, we have some really fun, it's just some really fun bingo stuff planned. So this Friday, participants will play, we're calling it Surprise Bingo, but we're spelling it SUR-PRIZE, because we're going to have all kinds of prizes. So that's going to be this Friday on December 9th, our regular time from 1 to 2:30 in the afternoon. And we have a special bingo caller on Friday. Mayor Mike McCabe will be calling bingo for our surprise bingo. We have all kinds of prizes, all kinds of really fun things that we think the participants will really enjoy. You'll get to pick out your prizes. So we're really excited
you want
about
some sound
it.
effects like this?
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love it. That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be a lot of fun. So, yes. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. I know. So we are hoping to give away a whole bunch of stuff, and it's a lot of fun stuff that you can use, and I think it'll be great. So that's going to be this Friday. And just remember that when on any Friday, if you want to do bingo at the Senior Center, you can just call us the day before, anytime after 10 o'clock. Just let us know that you're coming, just so we know how many tables and chairs we're setting up. So it just helps us out with that. we keep growing. We keep getting more and more people, and that's fine. We have plenty of room, so not to worry about that. And then the following week, we're switching things up a little bit. We usually play gift card bingo on the last Friday of the month. But that Friday, we have a special group from Elm Electric that's sponsoring this month's. And when Elm Electric sponsors and they provide the gift cards, they also like to do the bingo calling. And they couldn't do the last Friday because that's the Friday between Christmas and New Year's. They have a lot of people out on vacation. So we're going to switch that up, and they're going to do that on the 16th. Of December. So we'll have surprise bingo on the 9th, this Friday, day after tomorrow, and then next Friday we'll have gift card bingo. So all kinds of great things and great prizes. And, you know, if you win a gift card, you either might want to use it to purchase a gift for someone, or you might want to use the card itself as a stocking stuffer. So, or you might want to spend it on yourself. Either way, we're going to be good. So lots going on. Just remember to pre-register for bingo the day before, anytime the day before.
Okay.
Also a reminder, the art class is working with Matt Seklecki here at Westfield Technical Academy, as they have done for several years, on putting together a calendar, a one-of-a-kind Westfield calendar. There's generally a Westfield theme to it. So the art students have been, I think they're done. They've submitted, I think, all of their drawings for this year's calendar. The theme is Westfield buildings, I believe, right? This theme is uniquely Westfield buildings, so only buildings found in Westfield, so that's a theme. The cost of the calendar is $6, but you have to order it. What's today? Today's the 7th. You have to order it by Friday. You have to put your order in by the 9th with Mary Lou. So if you want to order a calendar, give Mary Lou a call. It's $6. Quantities are limited, but the students are going to know how many calendars they're making up. So we need to get that order in.
Gotta get the print order going.
Okay, exactly. So that's all that. We're excited about that. Also, we are in the process of taking names, and the phone has been ringing off the hook. We're doing a holiday curbside dinner on Thursday, December 22nd. It will be, the menu will include Yankee pot roast with gravy, mashed potatoes, mixed vegetables, and a really decadent dessert. So it's $5 for the dinner, and you do have to sign up in advance. So we've started taking reservations. You can reserve up to 2 people on your reservation list, and that will be a curbside dinner. Now,
I believe that's also the day of the holiday buffet here at Tiger's Pride, if you want to sneak over this way.
Okay, either way. So you're covered either way for food.
Yes.
I will warn you, the week before is our Jingle Bell Brunch. That is sold out. We are still getting some phone calls for that, but it's sold out, and people are saying, can I be on the wait list? And you know what? We're not adding any more to the wait list.
Yeah, you did warn people.
Yeah, I did. We did say it would sell out quickly. So that's the way it is. And I wanted to ask you, is Joe, this is the first Wednesday of the month.
Joe
Usually
is here,
the Joe show is going to...
And your guest is ready to go,
My guest is
too.
on. Okay, so Joe, so that's perfect. All right, so after, my guest will be Dr. Gary Gorman. He's going to be coming on after we take this break. And so Joe Rouse will be doing the Joe show. So we got a full slate this morning. I'm excited about that. All right, so I purposely saved this song. We said it was the birthday of Barbara Weathers, and excuse me, she was a singer with the group Atlantic Star, which is kind of a rhythm and blues. This is just a beautiful, beautiful romantic love song. I thought this would be a perfect song to bring my husband, Dr. Gary Gorman, in. So we're going to listen to Barbara Weathers and Atlantic Star singing "Always" in honor of her birthday. We'll be back.
chasing all of the rain away. When you come around, you bring brighter days. You're the perfect one for me, and you forever will be. And I will love you so always. Come with me, my sweet. Let's go make a family. They will bring us joy for always. Oh boy, I love you so. I can't find enough ways to let you know, but you can be sure I'm yours for always. And we both know that our love will grow, and forever it will be you and me. Ooh, you're like the sun, chasing all of the rain away. When you come around, you bring brighter days. You're the perfect one for me, and you forever will be. And I will love you so for I will love you so for I will love you so
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:16. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles, and zooming in this morning is Dr. Gary Gorman, sitting in our Serenity room, I see. Good morning.
Good morning.
You look very comfortable there.
I am very comfortable. I have my tea that I stole from you.
That's okay.
As I'm sipping on that.
There you go.
Can I have a little bit of your energy this morning?
Well, I've been up for like 4 hours, so, 3 hours, I guess. Yeah, 3 hours.
Yep. But it's comfortable. It's good to actually see your face.
I know.
I usually hear your voice once in a while, but I see your face now. That's great.
Good. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So the topic of the day, Dr. Gary Gorman, is our Christmas gifts. And Pete and I were talking about it earlier. Pete was saying that they've taken up what we started doing several years ago, Gary, which is sort of the experiential gift. So Pete and his girlfriend are going to be taking a little trip next week as part of their Christmas exchange for each other.
Yeah.
Nice. So I still encourage people, to think outside of the box and think about those. I don't know if you wanted to sort of start the conversation with some comments about that type of a gift, which I think really plays into the health and wellness piece.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, we actually started that many, many years ago with my parents when they were alive. They liked to travel, but they didn't know what to do, so or where to go. So, as one of many children, five in my family, and with our spouses, we came up with that idea to send them someplace. And they didn't need anything. They didn't need any more ties or shirts or any sweaters or any of that stuff. But they fell in love with not having to make a decision on where they would like to go and get away for the weekend. And we, of course, you were involved with helping to plan that out. And it was really, really pretty cool. So fast forwarding to now, that is what you and I have started to do, which is great. And I think that's just a good way to to honor our loved ones by giving them something that that will benefit them in some way other than sitting on the shelf and doing nothing.
Yeah, and you know what, Gare, as I was thinking about this and just thinking about some of my seniors and understanding that cost can certainly be a factor, when you plan those kinds of experiential things, it doesn't have to be anything big or major. You can be really creative and just say, I'm planning to, take a walk with you up at Stanley Park, on an afternoon of your choosing.
Right.
Let's do that and maybe, get some hot chocolate or, get some ice cream if it's in the summer. It's, it doesn't have to be expensive. And, it would be wonderful if you want to take a trip or you want to go to see a play or you want to go to a concert. But even if you want to do something like that, you could say, my gift to you is this summer, we're going to go to a Stanley Park concert together on a Sunday. They're free. You don't have to pay for it, but it's just you're committing to that experience together. So I think, really think outside the box. What do you think?
No, I think that's true, and I think that's just a great way. At this stage of our lives, it's not things that we cherish, but it's people and relationships that are really the most important for us. And as a species, communication and socialization and connection is critical for our health and well-being. So, I mean, yeah, right. You could give them a box of perfume or whatever, but at the end of the day, making a commitment to spend time with somebody, which would really be even more special for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
I agree. And I've always had this motto. It's my own. I made it up. I didn't, read it on a book or anything, but it's that I really believe that the greatest gift that you can give someone is the gift of your time, because time seems to be so precious. And so I think that really is, can really be the ultimate sacrifice and the ultimate gift that you can give to someone. And I remember one year, Grace, for my birthday, this was several years ago when I first started running, her gift to me was there was a road race. My birthday fell on a Sunday, and that's when there was, I think it was the Rotary Road Race was that day. It was on my birthday on a Sunday, and Grace committed to, her gift to me was, I'll do the race with you, and she was pretty out of shape that year. And so, but you know what? It didn't matter. We did it together. We walked part of it. And I said to her, this is not about, I don't care about time. It's just about the fact that the two of us were doing this athletic, sort of healthy thing together. And it was kind of funny that I kind of almost like carried her across the finish line. We both had a good laugh about that. But you know what? It was just fun. It was a good thing to do. And what a great birthday present. It was, I really appreciated that.
Oh, yeah. There's so much in the Pioneer Valley here for us to do and see for free.
Yes.
Basically. And, Stanley Park in and of itself is a gem. You could just go for a walk, depending on how mobile you are. You could walk on the trails. You could just go up and walk around in the field on the top. You could go to the gardens. There's just so much to offer. And for those younger folks that can hike, I mean, my God, the Holyoke Mountain Range and the rail trails and the M&M Trail and the New England trail systems. There's just so much to offer and so much to do.
Yep.
Around here,
Absolutely. So I think the name of the game is think outside of the box on some of those experiential types of gifts. But also, especially, as you've just mentioned, Gary, we've talked about walking, we've talked about hiking, with a little flair for some health and wellness type ideas to kind of promote that. I mean, I love when I see families, like up at the Ashley Reservoir. And, because I think when you're doing those things as a family and intergenerationally, you can take a walk with grandchildren, grandparents, parents in between. And that's just all promoting health. You're walking the walk. You're not just talking the talk. And I think that's really important.
I agree. I think it's a great way to do it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So we've kind of broken, you and I have kind of broken down these gift ideas into some sort of major categories. So where would you like to start, Gar?
Well, you know what? I like to start with safety first, I think, just because it's, that gets to the nuts and bolts of things and not necessarily the icing on the cake. And I think really, really need to recognize a little bit that we have winters in New England every year. They come after fall. There's no getting away from it. It is what it is. And we need to just tuck away a worst case scenario of a winter storm and what would happen during a winter storm. And if we are equipped to be stowed at home by ourselves with no heat, no electricity, we can't get out. Do we have the basics to survive over a day or two until we could get out? Things like flashlights and battery operated candles and some water and some food that you don't have to really cook and prepare, and little things like that. So a little safety checklist of things. Just blankets and because it's going to get cold, and there's no doubt about it. And
so I think that's a great, first of all, as you're mentioning these things, Gary, flashlights and batteries and battery. I love those battery operated candles, because we kind of especially tell seniors, regular candles can be kind of dangerous. But the battery operated ones are just great. And I'm thinking stocking stuffers, some of those small flashlights with the LED lights, man, they are bright. I mean, they don't have to have a huge flashlight. Those things are bright. So you can have those tucked away all over the place. But those make great stocking stuffers. Or I'm thinking, grandchildren, what a great gift to put together for their grandparents. Get a nice decorative Christmas box. You can get them at Ocean State Job Lot for a couple of bucks, and fill it with some of the items that you're talking about, Gary. Some waters, some batteries, some flashlights, some of the battery operated candles and things like that. I think that's a great suggestion, because you're right. Pete and I were talking about this before. I mean, the weather is what the weather is. It's going to do what it does. We have no control over that. What did Liz Veit say when we were up in Maine? There's no such, what is it?
No such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing.
Just inappropriate clothing. So, dress for the occasion, you're going to be okay. Prepare for the storm, right?
Right. We have to prepare for it. We have to dress appropriately for the weather.
Yes.
And things like sand for the sidewalk or the steps to have. I think what we've talked about and what we've done for you at the senior center, I think carbon monoxide detectors are critical, because with heating sources are a source of carbon monoxide, and you don't want to bring a heat source in to keep warm, but have a risk of having carbon monoxide being spewed out into your home.
Yep.
Your heating sources, well, if there's no power, there's no heat source, but you have these generators and everything else, and people try to come up with creative ideas, and unfortunately sometimes those creative ideas may not be the safest in order to accomplish what they're trying to do. So carbon monoxide, fire smoke detectors.
Okay,
like
so
that.
I brought some props. So I have a First Alert smoke alarm, and I'm not, it's like I don't get a kickback on any of this, but these are the ones. So this is a smoke and carbon monoxide detector combination, which is what we're really recommending now, because it just simplifies it. As you said, Dr. Gorman, we just, you can do both. You can have smoke detectors, you can have carbon monoxide detectors, but, why not just do it all at one time? The fire department recommends one of these on each level of your home, as that's your bare minimum. That's not going to, if you decide to put your house on the market, there are all kinds of laws in Massachusetts. And I think, Gary, you and I have something like 9 or 10 detectors between the garage and the basement and all the bedrooms and everything. But for safety's sake, get at least one of these on each floor of your house. And again, I'm not promoting, any special thing, but I know that you can get these at Rocky's Ace Hardware here in Westfield. And the price tag is about $65. So they're not cheap, but here's the advantage. They last, you put them up, they last for 10 years. There are no batteries to change. You put it up, you're done. In 10 years, the life of it is over and you got to replace it. But that's a long time away. So this is a great gift. And not only giving your loved one this, but also arranging for someone to install it. So that's really helpful. And I think they're not too hard to install, right, Gare?
They're not.
You and Mike have done this. We have a couple volunteers. Gary and Mike have done it. So this is called the First Alert Smoke and Carbon Monoxide Alarm. If you are, so inclined and you forget, you can certainly give me a phone call at the Senior Center and I can talk you through that one. So great gift. Okay, and so Gary also mentioned sand buckets. We did the Sand for Seniors program. And I think right now we're out of buckets. I'm going to try to get some more before the first snowfall. But again, we're getting like 5-gallon buckets. You can get them at Home Depot. You can get them at Rocky's Ace Hardware. We do recommend that you get a bucket with a lid so that you can fill it with either sand or a sand salt combination. Get a scooper. And I would tell you the best place to get those scoopers is in the pet aisle. It's like the scoopers for pet food. They're big, they're sturdy. We put them in the top of the sand bucket, put your lid on top. The only thing you have to remember is if you're doing a sand bucket, you need to put it in a place where it's not going to get covered with snow if we have a snowstorm. So on a porch or like right inside the garage or even right inside the house, depending on what your setup is, if you have a breezeway or something like that. But that's a great gift. And you know what? That's a great gift, Gare, as I'm thinking about it for like grandchildren to give their grandparents. I can tell you right now, the bucket is like $5, the lid is like $2, and the scoop's like $3, something like. You can do a whole thing for under probably $12 or $15. You can shop locally, fill it with sand, go put it at Grandma and Grandpa's. What a great, practical, safe gift, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and if you have grandchildren or you grandchildren out there, if you do have a little bit of extra income involved, why don't you prepare to have your loved one's sidewalks and driveways either plowed or snowblowed or something so they don't go out and do it. This is a time when we all have a little bit of pride and, I'll go out and I'll just do a little shoveling and I'll just do a little this and I'll just do a little that. But you know what? We need to be honest with ourselves, and we just may not be ready to do something like that. I mean, our 89-year-old neighbor, Norm, he would still love to get out and do this stuff. He's finally realized that he can't, and he realizes how much we love him and that we will do that for him. And he knows that he will hear it from us if we ever see him doing something silly. Right. And I don't mind calling him out on that. And as one of his adopted sons. So, helping to have snow removal and ice prep and things, because even if your loved one wants to go out and get the mail or something, that could be treacherous depending on the situation involved. So,
right, exactly. And I think on both levels in terms of shoveling, Gare, both on a slip and fall, that's a fall risk. And I think that's going to be our topic in January, how to avoid those. But also, just people with heart conditions. I mean, the last thing we need is somebody to have a heart attack while they're shoveling their sidewalk. So I that's a great suggestion, Gare, kind of, again, an experiential gift. And hey, for those grandchildren who are a little older and can do it, make that commitment. There's the gift to Grandma and Grandpa this year. I will make sure that your sidewalks are shoveled, when we have storms, or we will make that happen. So great gifts. Another thing, Gare, that I was thinking about when we were talking about house safety is, and I brought another show and tell. So these are automatic night lights. What that means is there's like no bulb in them. You simply plug them in. And during the day, nothing will happen. But as it gets darker, it will automatically light up. It's got some kind of a filament in it. Again, there's nothing to change. There's no light bulbs or anything. They're automatic. So once you plug it in, you don't have to worry about it. You can go, this one is very inexpensive, a couple bucks, literally. You can get them like at Home Depot for a few dollars. And you can get them in packs of 1, 2, 4, inexpensive. Or you can get some fancier ones. You know, they look a little fancier, they look a little nicer. Again, great stocking stuffers. You know, great thing to put into your emergency box. Of course, if you lose your electricity, you're going to lose this too. We do acknowledge that. But on a regular basis, if you're trying to prevent slip and fall, you know, people get up during the night and they, you know, have to go to the bathroom. And that's so important because trying to fumble around in the pitch black is like a recipe for disaster, especially for somebody with a balance problem. Right, Gare?
Oh, yeah, I agree. And really also anywhere near stairs or anywhere where you're going to climb up a stair or down a stair. You know what? I catch myself doing this as well. Sometimes when I'm coming down the stairs, I will kind of inch my foot forward to feel the stairs as opposed to not being so lazy and turning on the light to walk down the stairs, you know? And I as I'm doing it, I'm going, I should be really turning on this light. But so if you have a place where you could plug in a light or one of those lights near where you're going to go down a stair or even 1 or 2 steps to get to another level in your home, that's important.
Yeah, and thank you for that example, Garrett. It's a great example. And by the way, we're going to do that tonight when I go home because we have an outlet right at the bottom of our stairs. And I've done the exact same thing. It's like, I don't want to turn on the light. I don't want to wake anybody up. And, you know, if they see a light, but you're right. And a lot of times what happens is you think you've hit the bottom, you think you've hit the floor, and you have one more step to go. And that's just a great way to, you know, turn an ankle, slip and fall. And even though you're not going down a whole flight of stairs, you know, that can end you up in the ED. We don't want that to happen.
Well, and also too, I have in my house, since I live alone, I have automatic lights, so I can control them. The power's always onto the light, and they're Wi-Fi controlled, and I can either control them by voice command or by my phone. So if I'm walking down the stairs, I can turn that hallway light on by yelling to Alexa to turn the light on. And I do that at the house, so I leave lights on both ends of the house on. And as I'm transitioning from one side of the house to the other, I can turn the light off in the living room from the bedroom.
Yep. And
which is a good thing for, you know, if you want to help somebody out. It's not that they can use voice commands on an Alexa app or Google Home or whatever and control those type of devices.
And see, this is where you get your 10-year-old grandkid to like figure that stuff out if you're like in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, and you know, but yeah, there's the techno piece of it.
Well, and the other thing too is if you wanted to, and you're really trying to help somebody that lived alone, a senior, you could also put a camera in there and turn it on if they call you for help or something. And if it's a PTZ camera that you can control from your phone, you could see them and at least help them out.
So that's a great idea for families who, you know, are a little bit more tech savvy. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Great ideas. Thank you. All right, let's take a little break. We're talking about Christmas. We haven't played any Christmas music this morning. So let's listen to Elton John, Step Into Christmas. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. If you're just joining us, my guest this morning is Dr. Gorman. We're talking about Christmas ideas. We'll be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:41. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and zooming in with us this morning is my wonderful husband, Dr. Gary Gorman, chiropractor with Strength for Life. Good morning, Dr. Gorman.
Good morning.
Okay, so we are talking about Christmas ideas, gift ideas. So we've talked a little bit about experiential. We've talked a little bit about house and kind of safety around the home. Where would you like to go next, Dr. Gorman? So we have some other categories to cover here.
Yeah, let's do one more with the safety thing. Because
okay.
what I really feel is that the house number thing is a real issue.
Okay.
Because you know what, when Mike and I go out and do our volunteer work to do what we need to do, I'll tell you what, we often will talk about this while we're driving around going, if an ambulance were ever to try to find this home, they're not going to be able to find it because a lot of the homes have house numbers in places that you can't find them or not at all. And it's just really a real issue. And so I think that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
I think the family just needs to, take a ride by their loved one's house and go, if an ambulance were to show up here because my mom or dad needs something, could they find the place?
Yeah, basically. And you know what, Gary, I think here's the thing. Thank you for bringing that up. It's hugely important. And when we do the Retire the Fire program, oftentimes we'll focus on the importance of visible house numbers. So first of all, I can't tell you how many times the Westfield Fire Department has said to me, people think, well, now you have GPS, you can find us. Well, yes, GPS is going to get you to the street, and GPS is going to say, the house should be around there. But if the houses are close together and, it's like, well, is it this house or is it that house? Well, neither one has a number that we can see. It's dark. It's not like on dispatch doesn't have, well, it's a white house with, green columns and a brick front. I mean, that's not listed on anything. So you're right, Gare. And by Massachusetts law, your house numbers are supposed to be 4 inches, house and business. Any building should be 4 inches. What we say to people, too, is make sure it's a color contrast. I don't know if you remember, Gare, but when we first bought our house, which was 22 years ago, there was a house number on the house. I couldn't find it because at that time our house was gray. The numbers were gray. They had like silver, like pewter numbers, and it just blended into the house. Well, it was lovely that it blended into the house, but you couldn't see it. So this is it's not an aesthetic thing, folks. It's a practical thing. And I remember I had one senior when we did the house number project where we have numbers that actually like stick onto the house. And I wanted to put them on the senior's house. And she was like, well, what do they look like? I want them to be pretty. And actually, these are quite attractive. But I said to her, I don't think you're going to be worrying about that if you're in here having a stroke or a heart attack and the ambulance can't find you because you don't have a house number. So I think that's a great idea. And you know what, Gary? I would combine the safety of that with the experiential, which is if you're buying a house number for your loved one, buy it and put it up for them.
Yeah.
Don't just give it to them.
I'll tell you, one of the worst places is up at Hamden Village, and I don't want to bring names out, but I'll tell you, to try to find a resident up in Hamden Village is
it's a maze.
It's a maze.
Well, Gary, it's interesting because we're going to be starting a blood pressure clinic up at Hamden Village after the first of the year. Evelyn is going to be doing that. And so and we've done, Eric Bishop and I, through the Deputy Fire Chief, Eric Bishop and I have done, with the Red Cross, have done some blitzes with detector blitzes up there. And maybe it's time for us to do a house number blitz up there. I think that's a great idea. I'm on it.
I think so, because again, it's just difficult,
No, I think that's a great. Thank you for that suggestion. Okay, so we've got home safety, kind of some ideas there. What's next?
Yep. I like to, you know what? I'll go back to what we did with my dad when he turned 60 with a YMCA membership. You know, it's interesting. Of course, I'm going to plug Strength for Life for those of you who are near East Hampton, because we have a very similar type of thing, not a swimming pool, but a very similar type of gymnasium, rehab, weight training equipment, personal trainer situation. I just know ours because I'm there all the time, and I see the care and the attention that we pay to everybody who's in there, and it's just an environment. It's such a social, fun support group environment up there. And you know
where is that in East Hampton, Garrett? Just for our listeners and our viewers.
Strength for Life in the Eastworks building, where the motor vehicle registry is. We're about 50 meters from there.
Okay.
And it's right on Prospect Street in East Hampton. So it's just it's a great place. But anyway, the YMCA is close and it's convenient. And prior to doing that, what I did was with my dad, when he turned 60, I said, we're going up to the hospital. We're going to get a stress test done for your heart. And because I don't want you to be dropping dead on a treadmill working out at the YMCA. So we ended up getting a stress test for him to get him approved to be able to start exercising. And he went up there religiously for many years. And that was our annual Christmas gift for him to renew his YMCA membership. Ironically, he went up there at age 60, cleared by a cardiac stress test up at and 3 years later, he had triple bypass surgery. So you never know.
That's right.
But this is a place you want to go to, a facility where you have people that know what they're doing and can teach you and walk you through the process and be there to answer any of your questions. That's critical. You know what? I feel that, like the YMCA, I feel that would have that kind of situation where you go in there as a new member. There's going to be an orientation process that you go through, and you want to have somebody that is certified as a personal trainer to be able to take you where you are. I had, interesting enough, I had a patient just yesterday was saying something like she was doing some Zoom exercise class, and it was like a 20-year-old expecting these 60-year-olds to do exercising of a 20-year-old. And you really have to cater to your audience and what you're dealing with and what kind of mobility issues or restrictions that you may have, and meet them where they kind of work from there. And,
you know, Gare, just to dovetail that, Pete and I were talking earlier in the first hour. The YMCA is starting a new program, and I was sharing with Pete. It's for people with Parkinson's disease. So it's a specialized exercise program for people with Parkinson's. It's on a drop-in basis, so it's $5 a class, or you can purchase a 10-session package for $50. It's Mondays and Fridays from 11 to 12. And one of the things that I was saying was Michelle Urbanski is the person who put this together. She's the person who teaches our mail call class. And, you know, it's just exactly what you said, Gare. This was something that we've been talking about. Michelle and Andrea Allard, who's the executive director at the Y, and I and Michelle have been talking about this for like a year. So there was all kinds of special training that had to go into this. It's not like, oh, let's throw together an exercise class for people with Parkinson's. I don't really know anything about Parkinson's, but I think they could probably do this, that, and the other thing. No, this was all very well thought out. And then you have to be certified to teach this particular class. And, you know, I know that with Carol Palmer, who's now on staff at the senior center, but Carol said too, I mean, she held a zillion different certifications for every type of different thing that she wanted to teach or lead in. Well, you had to, you know, take courses and training and CEUs and all that other stuff. So I agree with you, Gare. As much as we feel like, you know, a membership to some place would be great, make sure it's, you know, with people that know what they're doing.
And there's national governing bodies that you become certified through, whatever they are, but they're credentialed. And that's really what, you know, you don't want somebody in there who had, oh, I'm a certified trainer or I'm a personal trainer. Yeah, I had a weekend course. Well, no, that's not really going to cut it.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? So that's when you actually get out and do that. You know, with the winter coming up, I want you to be, it's important to be careful. Exercise and activities are important, but you also have to look at the elements. And if it's icy out, if you have footing issues outside, take the exercises inside. I mean, over where we are at the Eastworks building, I walk inside. We have 3 stories of long flooring, all old wood flooring, which is excellent to be walking in. I tell my patients, come over here and walk instead of going to the mall, because for one, you're going to spend money at the mall, and two, the flooring in the mall is so hard. It's marble. It's designed to take a lot of abuse, but it is unfriendly for people that have back issues, who have hip and knee issues, because there's no cushion involved with that.
Yes, and Barbara Coleman and I would also tell you that we both find those floors to be very slippery. The new flooring that they put down at the mall, when they put the new flooring in, it's beautiful. It's very shiny, but I also find it to be slippery. And Barbara said she has as well. And Barbara's an avid walker, a regular at the senior center. I agree with you, Gary. Those walls up, or those floors up at Eastworks, they are absolutely fabulous. They're the old-fashioned wooden. And if you can do stairs, when you do a flight of stairs to go from the first to the second floor, that's a workout in and of itself. Yep. So that's a great opportunity, and I'll have to clock it from Westfield up to the east to Eastworks. It's probably not as far as people think.
No, it's probably about a 15-20 minute ride.
I would say probably about a 20-minute drive.
For me personally, if I were going from Westfield, I'd take East Mountain Road right through all the way to Williston. You're literally staying on the same road. You go to Hamden Ponds, you cross over, it becomes County Road, Line Road. Before you know it, it takes you literally right into East Hampton.
Yep. Good suggestion.
So,
okay, now let's go with this, Gareth. So if you are going to do some indoor walking, or if the weather's okay, some outdoor walking, you need a good pair of walking shoes.
Right.
Another gift. How about a gift card to, maybe Fast Feet? Someplace where you can get, and I go to someplace like Fast Feet. It's local. We have one here in Westfield, and they'll work with you individually. They'll fit you. They'll work with you individually. I've had some great luck with Fast Feet and getting my walking shoes, my running shoes there. They were the ones that actually recommended the brand that I'm currently using versus what I used to be using, because they know, that the one that you were using, even though they come in narrows, because I have a narrow foot, tends to run wide. So even their narrows are a little bit wider, which is why I always had to wear big, fat, thick socks. And it's like, oh, okay, well, these over here. So gift card for walking shoes or something like that, exercise shoes would be good.
Yep. And you know what? I mean, Grace and I did the 3 videos. Consequently, there's access to the videos, and I'm starting to tell some of my own patients. They say, "Do you have any exercise at home?" I said, "Look, go into YouTube, Google my name, and it will come up." And my daughter and I have done videos that you can do right at home. They're safe, light weights that you can do. Oh yeah, I have my little props.
Oh good.
We have this is actually a 1 pound little weight right here. Yeah. You do that, and you could use the weights, or you could use a can of soup or whatever, so if you don't want to spend the money.
Well, no, but we're talking about gifts. So this is you put this on your Christmas list. I would like 1 pound weights or 2 pound weights or 3 pound weights. Your families, honestly, you can get them at Ocean State. They are not expensive. Again, these are all practical gifts that don't cost a lot of money, and easy. You can get up to, I think at Ocean State you can get up to 10 pounds. So I think it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and maybe 10.
And start light,
start light,
and then build up when you really feel you need it. You know what I mean? For those of you who are savvy like Pete, you could get YouTube on your TV, and you don't have to be looking at me on a Pilot or an iPad or something. You could actually bring me up, and I'm on the entire screen on your TV, for crying out loud, if that's the case.
55 inches of Gary Gorman. Look out.
There you go. I know.
There it is. Another tip, Gary, another gift idea. It's something that people might want to put on their list. And I know I had a senior who was absolutely adamant about this. She was a walker, a reflective vest. I got to tell you, there was a guy on a bicycle that I came this close to hitting the other day, wearing all black on a dark bike. at night. I mean, it was in the evening, so it was just we were heading into darkness, no light on the bike, and I was like, oh my God, if he had a fluorescent vest on, either bright orange, bright yellow, bright green. And again, you can get those. You can get them at Ocean State. You can get them at Walmart. You can order them online, and they're not expensive. They're under $10. So another great gift to ask your kids, your grandkids, or whomever, put that on your list. All right, Gary, we only have a couple minutes. So what I'm going to say is I do want to talk just a little bit briefly about some home health related gift ideas. Pete and I were talking about a few of those, but this is my big one, and I did find my prop ice pack. I think everybody on the planet should have a soft ice pack. This is what they look like in your freezer for use at any time. It's just, it's like bendable. This one came out of the freezer, so it's still cold. I mean, I took it out of the freezer like almost 2 hours ago. Still cold, but it's a soft ice pack. You got a headache, you got a bump or a bruise, right, Gare?
Yep. Yeah, it's always safe to go with ice. Especially if you had a recent injury. I strained my back, I strained my neck, I did this ice. Now, here's also the prop. Come back here.
I got one too.
This is terry cloth, and this is really important because the material in these ice packs, these reusable gel packs, can get very cold, and you don't want to frost your skin. So you really want to have a buffer between your skin and the ice pack itself. So my mom actually made these, God bless her soul. It's got Velcro. It's this little pack that you just put it in, and it's perfect. And you just throw it in there. And you could actually leave this in the pack when you throw it in the freezer if you want to.
Yeah, and she made these out of dish towels, by the way. Yeah. And I brought this in because this would be a great gift for all of the grandparents who are watching, to make sure that your kids and your grandkids have one of these. And if you have a sewer if you're a sewer, you can make one of these. I have the pattern right here. They're really simple. Nanny just used, your mom just used, dish towels, sewed them up on a couple of sides, put some Velcro on, and you just slip the ice pack into it, and it's perfect. It's a nice gift. And I would say probably, Gare, in this day and age with COVID and flu and everything else, a forehead thermometer, the touchless thermometer would be also a great gift. I think every household should have one. We have a friend who's blind, and we ended up getting one because he was looking for one that spoke to you and told you what the temperature was. And I thought, well, you don't have to be blind for that to be handy. I thought that was great. Takes your temperature and it tells you what your temperature is, right?
We have one?
We do. We do. Oh. Yep. Because our friend Bob he for whatever reason, I think he ordered one and then something happened. He ended up with two, and I offered to buy it from him, and he offered to give it to us as a gift. He wouldn't take any money for it. And you know what? They're not that expensive, because I asked him, I said, how much? It was like under $20. So another good gift idea. Dr. Gorman, it is 7:59. We're going to have to wrap it up. Joe Rouse is, we have the Joe Show this morning with Joe Rouse and Carol Palmer. I don't know if Joe has a special guest coming in. Nope. He said no. Okay. All right. So they are on deck. So Gary, thank you so much for joining us. I think we gave a really nice array of ideas, all different prices, from free all the way up to like a gym membership. So, and kind of everything in between, stocking stuffers. We talked about home safety, home health, exercise. We did great, Gare.
We covered it all. Good job, team.
We did cover it all. All right, everyone. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. Have a great week. We will see you next week. Take care.
Oh, this is going to be a groove for me. It's going to be a little something different, but we're going to give it to them anyway. Are you ready? Come on. Ha. We want to give out a present to everybody this Christmas. All around the world, for every man, woman, boy, and girl. Are you ready right now? Come on. There we go. Oh, I like it like that. Come on. That's it. All right. Come on. Oh, Christmas presents around the world. Something mighty sweet to see. If only if I just had a present for everyone under one great big Christmas tree. For every boy that wants a brand new toy, for every Johnny that wants a car. For every junior that wants a mobile bike that rides and rides and rides. Now my little daughter, she wants a doll that cries, one that walks and wipes its eyes. And I see there's someone that wants somebody home just to leave hair in their arms. What a Christmas present, this Christmas. Oh, what a gift you could be. You know, if I could just give out Christmas presents to everyone under one great big Christmas tree. You know, I'm even fat enough to be the world's biggest Santa Claus. And everybody could just stand around and just say, ooh, is that for me? Come on, a Christmas present for everybody this year. And we want to give it to them. Are you ready? Come on, everybody. Come on, one more time together. Merry Christmas, baby. A present for you, Christmas, directly from me. For all the disc jockeys around the world, Merry Christmas. All the policemen and all the pretty girls. Oh, la, 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 la. That's from my own brother, y'all. And all the Soul Clan Christmas presents, baby. Here we go. Come on, let me hear you. Come on. All right. Now listen to me. Somewhere in this big wide world, there's some little girl and boy who's wishing for a great big Christmas, maybe 1, 2, or 3 toys. But sadly enough, believe me as it seems, they won't get these things, we know. But the best that we can do is wish a Merry Christmas to you and hope next year things will have a lot of joy. Christmas presents